We light this candle for our love. We light this candle that your light will always shine. We cherish the special place in our hearts that will always be reserved just for you. We thank you for the gift that your living has brought to each of us. You are loved. You are remembered. I thought you told me Lorenzo was going to do it. Oh, you were. I'd like to welcome you all today. My name is Philip Smith. I'm honored to be the funeral celebrant this afternoon. As we gather to celebrate the life and mourn the passing of Johnny George Rioux, we gather together to share in the moments and the memories that come together to make up the journey of the 46 years that were Johnny's life. We're here today to honor his family, his loving and cherished children, Calvin, Alexis, Lucas, and Lorenzo, and their partners. His loving stepmother, Marie, the mother of their children, Sandra, along with all those who would be counted as the extended family, the friends, the co-workers, the colleagues, the guys that would take up space along the rail at the Brooklyn pub, that would help make up the length and breadth of Johnny's life. And on behalf of the family and those who cherish Johnny, allow me to thank you for being here today. Whether you join us today in person, whether you join us over the miles, your care is felt by this family today, and your care is appreciated. It's an important day when we stop to acknowledge the value and the importance of a life, especially one that we held so closely. And we think of Johnny's life and the ways in which he has touched his world. And your presence here today, whether you're directly a part of his life or simply here to support one of those who loved him, means that Johnny has made a difference in your life, be it in a small or a large way. And so you've taken this time today to stop, to step aside from the busyness of your own days and join us as we celebrate this life we're celebrating today. Today we'll hear some of the stories and we'll share in the memories, and we'll get a snapshot of his full and well-lived 46 years. You now become the keepers of Johnny's legacy, his exuberant strength, his love of the great outdoors, his adventurous spirit, and each of the lives that he would cherish along this journey of his days. I'm going to invite several of those voices that can speak to the life and joy that Johnny brought to their own journeys to come and share their thoughts with us here today. You can relax a little bit, Alexis. We're going to start with the bro from another Mo, Stephen. Cake, eh? Is that your last name, man? That's a great last name. I love Cake. That's a good deal, man. Come on up, Stephen.
Well, first I'd like to thank everyone for being here today to support Johnny's family, and the friends of Johnny George Rioux, and to pay respect and celebrate his life. I'm really sorry for everyone's loss, and you're all in my thoughts and prayers right now too at this difficult time. This is never really a day that anybody looks forward to, or wants or expects to go through for a variety of reasons, but it's a part of our life. We're born, we live, and we pass on. And, no matter what the circumstances are, it never gets easy. I myself never expected to be here talking about my good friend, my brother from another mother, often pain in my ass, right? My older twin, Johnny Rioux, right? It is something for me that I see, too soon for a myriad of reasons and feelings and emotions. And in truth, I always expected that Johnny would be the one standing here for me. doing this very thing. I spent a great deal of time trying to write, what I'm speaking to today. I know I mentioned to Sandy a few times I didn't know if I could do it, and I've actually done this a few times before in the past, and this is one of the most difficult times for me to have to stand up here and do it, but it was something I felt that I needed to do for my own closure too, as well as everybody else that's in here. Johnny and I were connected from the first time that we met each other that fateful day, of all places, at the pub. It was a friendship that was meant to be. We both enjoyed music, barbecues, beers, of course, sports, spent a lot of time when Johnny was living over here in another area of Brooklyn where the famous painting is from, the Canadian flag, often during the Brooklyn Fair. Sometimes the memories from those are a little cloudy, but always had a good time. We spent a great deal of time talking to each other about how our lives would go and complain about it, right? And how it could be better, and what we could do for each other to help each other, and how and what we needed to do to fix it more often than not, and then forget all about it, and then forget it all, right? We did that almost every day because we both had each other's backs. It was sort of medicine for the both of us, to be able to do that. We spent birthdays, long weekends, Super Bowls, family dinners, and many other good times, fun times together as well over the years. Like brothers, though, we had our moments as well. We had our highs and lows, but we were always there for each other, no matter what. I apparently was the younger one, even though Johnny was 8 years younger than myself, and there are some stories there. One so much that he got upset because I was called the younger brother by a lady at the pub one day when Johnny and I were there, were having our usual after-work adult beverages. If Heather was here, she was there that day, and she was beside herself laughing at how Johnny and I handled all of it like two brothers would. I could stand up here all day and tell stories like the time we were having a barbecue at Johnny's with his late partner in love, Bree, in Brooklyn, and Johnny burned his leg on a motorcycle exhaust. The person that's laughing, it would have been his motorbike, right? And he never stopped talking about it, or the time he painted the famous Canadian flag on the shed in his yard. That was one of his pride and joys, right? Today is about Johnny. It's about celebrating his life and supporting his family and friends, who he was, what he accomplished, and about remembering the good times we all had the opportunity to share with him. I used to say to Johnny, I keep the lights on at OPG for people in their homes, and you paint them and make them look great inside. Right? He was an exceptional painter. A good father, a hard worker, a pain in the ass, but he was Johnny, my friend, my brother from another mother, and I will miss him dearly. He has gone way too soon for me. One day I will see him again, and when I do, it'll be just another day talking about our lives, complaining to each other how it could be better, and how and what to do to fix it, and then forgetting about it all again. I would like to close out with this poem by a lady by the name of Nerissa Morton. It's called Loss of a Friend. A loss of a friend hurts. The loss of a best friend hurts more. But it is never a true loss. Every day you will see something that reminds you of them. This will bring a memory of the times you spent together, followed by another. A memory of how you went your separate ways. They will always be in your mind. They never really leave you. Rest in peace, my brother, and God bless your soul. You will be missed. Your friend, Steve. Thank you.
Don't make her come alone, guys.
Okay. Well, that was really good. I don't know if I'm going to do any good, but okay. It's not happening. Okay. My dad was most definitely the fun parent. He was carefree, the daredevil, breaking all the rules, covering for me when I lied to Mom, being on my side when we got into arguments. I was Daddy's little girl. He would do whatever he wanted and whenever he wanted. He was an awesome dad to grow up with. My dad loved celebrating any holidays that contained fireworks. He was always a firework guy. When I was younger, he rallied up money from all the neighbors to buy a huge amount of fireworks to set off on Canada Day. It was going so good until one of the buckets fell, looking straight towards the house. Ready to shoot at any moment, my mom started screaming, trying to collect all her kids, and people started hiding behind the cars. Fireworks were shooting everywhere. It was definitely scary, but we were all okay, and we had a great laugh about it after. My dad continued to be the solo firework guy for a while until Jay, my significant other, came around and they turned into partners in crime. Celebrating Canada Day again, the family got a bunch of fireworks to set off from my dad's backyard. Everything was going good until my dad got impatient with using only one bucket. He wanted to keep the momentum going, so he put the grand finale on the sidewalk. We were all too far away to see him do this, but Jay kept saying, no, don't do that. But there was no time. One went up, one went left, one went right, and the damn thing fell, looking straight at Jay and Dad, going straight through both of them and bursting along the metal fence behind them. It was so dark and smoky, we couldn't see anything, and we were all yelling, "Are you okay? Where are you?" And then my dad stepped into the light saying, "Holy shit, did you see that?" And we all started laughing because they were both okay. Okay. I will always admire my dad's carefree attitude, never taking things too seriously, going with the flow and having fun. When I first met my boyfriend, I told my dad about his family's gymnastics business, and he was so excited to go see it. So first chance he got, he came to open gym night, and he ran around jumping on the trampolines, showing off his backflips, which were not the best. We all thought he was going to fall on his head, but he stayed all night having more fun than the kids. I can't breathe. Okay. I will always admire my dad's determination and dedication to working hard. My dad was a great manager. I heard it everywhere. When I got old enough, my dad got me my first job at Dollarama, and first thing he said was, "Alexis, you have to work hard and don't make me look bad." I was surprised to notice he knew everyone. It didn't matter what Dollarama I worked at, they all knew my dad. They all had stories about how funny he was or how hardworking he was. They all loved him, and all I was thinking was, crap, I can't get away with anything here either. So I got into the groove of following in his footsteps and working hard no matter what. No matter what he did, big or small, all his accomplishments, owning his own painting businesses. Oh, sorry, I gotta start that again. No matter what he did, big or small, he worked so hard at it. He accomplished owning his own painting business. Not only was he just one guy with a paintbrush, painting all on his own, he also did his own advertising, making t-shirts, business cards, and card magnets. When my dad had something in mind, he figured out how to do it. Dad never looked at the negative. He was always a relaxing optimist. His famous words were, "I'll figure it out," and that's what he did. My dad loved playing poker with us kids. He taught me how to play at a very young age, even though my mom told him not to. My dad loved having friends and families over for barbecues, bonfires, and just drinks. Dad loved his drinks. He loved going to the Brooklyn pub for those drinks. No matter how broke he was, he always found a way to go to the pub. He went so much, he had his own seat at the bar with his ass printed in it. My dad was our biggest supporter, supporting us kids in anything that we chose to do in life. He would come to all of our soccer games, swimming lessons, karate classes. He would practice with us outside in the front yard. When we started to get into sports at school, he was right there cheering us on, coming to our track meets, cross-country races, sports games. My dad loved running the last little bit of my cross-country race with me and yelling his head off, "Go Alexis, run, run!" It was so embarrassing, but looking back, I really appreciated his support. My dad had rows and rows of ties in his room, and when he got older, he changed his collection of ties to a collection of hats and shoes. My dad was always a well put together guy. He liked looking good, especially for the ladies. My dad was definitely a player. After my parents' divorce, my dad went on a lady hunt. He had a different girlfriend every month until he finally found Bree. And the cougar days were over. Bree and my dad were total opposites, but they both brought the best out of one another, and my dad found somebody to share his fun, adventurous side with. My dad always thought about his kids no matter what. Okay, I'm out of breath, hold on. My dad always thought about his kids no matter what was going on between us. We were family, and we were always there for each other. Even though my parents got divorced, it took a couple years, but we got to a place together as a family, never to leave anyone alone. Going to beaches together, celebrating holidays, and celebrating birthdays with each other, or even having just a day of hanging out with each other. He was a loyal dad with a pure heart. I've seen him grow into somebody inspiring. I will always, okay. It's like literally the last sentence.
I will always love the memories and laughs we got to share. The loss of my father will always sting, but now everything that I do is in his honor of him and celebrates his life.
I love you, Dad.
It's one of the toughest things a kid ever has to do for their parents. You did a fantastic job. Ralph Waldo Emerson made this statement. He said, "The purpose of life is not to be happy, it's to be useful, to be honorable, to be compassionate, to have it make some difference that you have lived and you have lived well." And while I'm not sure whether Johnny ever heard that particular quote, he would set about some 46 years ago to bring its words to life in his own days, each and every one of them. To leave us thinking about the value of his life, the difference that our lives have found because he had a presence in them, whether that was seen or unseen, and the value of his legacy as we gather here together today. And Johnny's journey would see him welcome to this world on the 6th of March in 1975 in the far north of Thunder Bay, Ontario. He would be welcomed to the limb of the Rioux family tree, and Johnny would set about to find his space in this world. Life in those early years would see him living in Thunder Bay for his tiny years. And then eventually the move would come to London, Ontario. And as he would work his way through his teen years, Thunder Bay would welcome him back with open arms. He'd be about 18 when he would arrive back in town, and within pretty short order, he would meet the lovely Sandra. Apparently he was a player, so I'm not surprised by that. Now, I don't know how many of you know the truth about he and Sandra meeting, I was just informed of it today, so I'm going to share it with you because Johnny wanted us to know. Johnny dialed a wrong number and Sandra answered the phone. And the rest is history. It would be in the summer of '94. I can still see that airbrushed on a white t-shirt somewhere in the bright 90s neon. You remember the airbrush places at the mall, right? Summer of '94. Johnny must have done something right, because the girl and the boy, well, they would find their lives joining their hearts in marriage on the 6th of July in 1996. And while they would share those bonds, they would bring 4 beautiful lives to this world as a result of their efforts. Calvin would join the family first and would be followed by Alexis and Lucas and finally Lorenzo after the movie, just in case you wondered, because I was curious. I didn't know where a family in Thunder Bay was coming up with the name Lorenzo, so I asked. It's a great movie, man. As a family, they would find their lives moving from Thunder Bay to Timmins to Niagara Falls and eventually just down the road in Oshawa. Along that routing, Johnny would keep up his role with Walmart at the time. He'd be a full-time member of their team from about 95 to 2012, and it would be a role that would bring him some satisfaction as well as some fame and notoriety. I don't know if you've taken a notice, but Johnny was a model at one point in his life. Made his way all the way to the Walmart flyer. It's a pretty good moment, I'd say. Yeah, well, it helps with the ladies. Yeah, he could pull out his mugshot. Look, I'm a model. But if you really want to smile, you'll flip the page and take a look at Alexis in her purple snowsuit. Apparently, it was a 2-for-1 staff photo week, and Johnny took advantage of it. Did they give you the snowsuit? Oh, had to give the snowsuit back? Yeah. That sucks. That's good. Yes, we're going to take pictures of you in a snowsuit on this lovely August afternoon. Most recently, he would find himself doing the thing he loved so greatly. That was painting. Running his own business, Rioux Good Painting. It would be the most tedious work that some people would ever do, but the ones that didn't want to do it, the smart ones, they would call Johnny. And Johnny would be there to help them make a beautiful space into a work of art. And while he would love the work, Johnny would love his role as a dad far more. I asked the kids to tell me what he was like as a dad. And without much hesitation at all, I heard that he was just one of us. He was a big kid at heart. He would love to enjoy the time that they would share just goofing off or playing a game together. And all the while, his only agenda being to make sure that they knew how loved they really were. He was the dad that would push them to improve on their best, to help them find new ways to enjoy this big world around them. Whether it was helping them climb that tree that would be calling their names, or building a fort high in its branches. Okay, high is a relative term when you're only 4 feet tall, 8 feet is but they'd be there. And he'd be there to ensure that when they weren't feeling great, he would show them all the love that they needed in practical ways. Staying with them on those days when they were homesick from school, just helping them chase the boredom away. He would be the one that would show them where there was no reason to fear. Whether it was on a roller coaster, Johnny loved Wonderland. By the way, if Johnny ever took you to Wonderland, you were staying for the whole day, my friend. Because there was no way Johnny was paying $50 for your ticket and leaving after 4 hours. That was an all-day, all-access pass, and he was going to suck every ride that he could out of it, even if that meant he was in Scooby-Doo's village. I'll give you an example. There was the day at Wonderland that Johnny had pulled in with the kids. And about 3 hours into the equation, it would start to pour. Now, Johnny wouldn't let it ruin their day. No, they would just go sit in the car. And they would watch the parking lot clear out around them, and Johnny would simply sit in that car until every last car had left the parking lot and the rain had stopped. And he would take his kids with their stamps on their hands right back through those gates, and they would ride every ride they could until the park would close. I don't blame them. They would enjoy that day to its fullest. Or the cliffs that he would throw his body off of. Well, eventually throw his body off of. He'd need a few minutes to gather up the chutzpah to actually jump the 30-plus feet into the darkened water below. But eventually he'd get there. When he did it, he would be glad to share it with Lucas and Lorenzo. The boys would also love their time at the track with him as well, the cars whipping past at seemingly ridiculous speeds, each turn potentially leading to an accident, but let's face it, that's part of the reason we love auto racing. The adventurous side of the sport. And if you don't watch auto racing to see the accidents, well, then you should try a different sport. That adventurous side would spill over to his love of poker. On one particular trip up north to visit Grandma with the kids in tow, Johnny would book himself into a poker tournament in town over the weekend. He would proceed to win that tournament, which was probably a rarity, I have to imagine. So instead of heading straight home, Johnny would take the family from Thunder Bay down to the States and join more family in the festivities that was the family reunion at Wisconsin Dells. Now, if you've never been to Wisconsin Dells, I was told that it was like a miniature Niagara Falls, but there were no falls. It's a great definition. Thank you very much, Sandra. So what I'd like you to do today is picture Niagara Falls without the falls, and that's what you have left. Yeah, see, you get it, don't you? Who wants to go to Niagara Falls without the falls? And that's Wisconsin Dells, my friend. So I've saved you a trip. It would be a trip that would bring them all joy, though. Oh, they'd spend all that money before they ever got home. But it would be a trip that would create moments that would last for a lifetime. And he was the dad that wanted to be with them, whether it was cheering them on at their sporting events, as we've already heard, be it on the soccer field or track and field. Alexis recalling the times that he would help her finish her race, the joy of him cheering her on as he would run along beside. And when there was nothing to watch them do, he would find himself playing tennis with them or rollerblading, simply enjoying the time that they would spend at the park together. And while he would not ever be compared to Gordon Ramsay for his cooking, he would love his grill. Most of the meals other than that came straight from some other chef in a box or a can. Chef Boyardee or Dr. Oetker. But when the grill was up and hot, he would welcome the joy of a great meat and potatoes meal, if there wasn't pizza coming. And it wasn't too long ago that Sandra would reveal the secret that you can make potatoes on the grill. Johnny's mind was blown. This was a new revelation for the man, but he was happy to have the insights. He was a dad that wanted to share your first drink as you all reached that magical age of legality here in Canada. He would love that you thought of enjoying that drink with your old man. And if we're honest, Johnny loved to party. So any reason to kick one off would be enough to bring a smile to his lips. He would love so very many things in this life and his journey of 46 years. The simple things like painting, the notion of taking something and transforming it would resonate with him. Whether it was a client's home or putting that giant Canadian flag on a garage door, he was in. And he would see that love of transformation spill over to the restoration work he would do with furniture pieces, taking them from something that would be less than perfect for you and making them into something beautiful for someone else. He would love the movie. He would share them with the kids, The Marvel Universe would be one of their favorite spaces to enjoy. And together with his kids, he would love the antics of the superheroes as they would strive to make this world better. His favorites would be Ant-Man and Deadpool. So I don't know how much positive influence they really had on the world, but they're a whole lot of fun to watch, that's for sure. Who can blame him, man? Deadpool. Come on, that's a great movie. He would love his style sense, as we've already heard. In his later years, it would become mostly outdoor chic, but always with a pair of kicks to be proud of, and not just the shoes themselves, but the way he would keep his shoes. You see, you may not have realized it or not, but Johnny, every time you walked past him, would look at your shoes and judge you accordingly. If they were clean and shiny, you were a friend of Johnny's in the shoe department. And if they were not, he would reserve his opinion. And what shoe lover doesn't want a few hats to complete that ensemble? I mean, it's like a woman with her purse and shoes, right? We get hats, you get purses. Sandra noted the day he would come home with a new hat, and she would simply ask him about it. Hey, that's a nice hat. Where'd you get that, John? He would search the skies and universe for a reason for his existence and his care. And Johnny's response was simple. I found it. Which he likely had in a rack at Lids with the other $40 hats for sale. He found it and he brought it home. He would enjoy the times that he and Calvin would share the golf course together, making the best of a challenging walk and carving out new moments and memories to share together. He would love the cheesecake that he would go to for his birthday. Well, the flavor didn't really matter to Johnny. In fact, if you found one of those multi-slice ones from Nearly Perfect down the road, you brought that to him for his birthday, well, you would likely be called the king of the gifts that year. And he would admire your good taste. And thankfully, it would only be Alexis and Jay that would be measuring those elements on their Christmas jaunts from family to family each year. As they made their way through the three families that they would join on Christmas Day, they would, you may not have been aware of this either, but they judged those families based on their Christmas spread. Apparently it was a little side game they'd had going for the last few years to see who would win their Best Christmas Spread award. Not sure what the award was. Maybe they would come back next year if your spread was good enough. Sadly, Johnny would never win, as Johnny would be able to turn stuffing into soup. But it was the thought that counted. He'd put in the effort. M&M's doesn't make a bad sliced turkey or mashed potatoes, so it's pretty easy. He'd love to have his head under the hood of his cars. He would enjoy doing the maintenance and would gladly share that insight with any of his kids that would welcome help with their cars as well. And if there was a new whip in town, he would gladly snap a pic or talk to its owners at a local show and shine, and he and Lucas would enjoy sharing those moments together. And no matter what the ask, if Johnny could help you make something in your life better, well, he was going to do his best to help you do it. He was going to do all that he could to ensure that he was there for you. Whether it was sharing a beer and some fries at the Brooklyn pub, or sharing a roof with you and some truly bonding experiences. Apparently he and Lorenzo were each other's emotional support animals in these last few years. They told me I could say it. But more than all of it would be the love that he had for the people that would share his journey, whether it would be for a lifetime or a moment. He had a genuine care in his heart, his abundant energy, his joy at finding the moments that would bring happiness to those he loved most. They would all come from the depths of a heart that Johnny Rioux would have for each life that he would share and care and love within. He would fill his days with the love of his family, from his earliest days to his last. They would be a constant part of the joy of his days, and even though the years would have some ups and downs, the core of his heart would always draw him back to sharing his heart and time with those he loved and cared for most of all. The names that would bear his name. The family and his own children, the lives that would partner alongside his over his journey to create love that they would share together. The memories that they would cherish together. And some of the most wonderful steps on his journey. And Johnny would know that love as it would fill his heart and mind each day of his journey. Even as he would find the care of the team at Lake Ridge Health just weeks ago now. He would know that love surrounding him as he would spend those hours and days journeying there. So that when he would take that final step that separates our lives from what lay beyond, he would know that he had been loved, he had been valued, and Johnny would find his peace. And we who remain, we gather our hearts with the warmth of memories of Johnny today. The knowledge that his journey was a good one. The author Natalie Babbitt tells us this. She says, "Don't be afraid of death. Be afraid of an unlived life." And Johnny did just that, didn't he? He lived this life. Each day and every day filled to the moments that would become a legacy that his children, his loving family, the extended family, his friends, co-workers, you can all look back on and see his value in those days. A life that most would look at and admire, not just for its care and love, but for its substance as well. For those of us present today who were witness to this bright and shining life, my encouragement to you today is that you would be present for the family in the days to come as well. That when your thoughts drift to Johnny, perhaps you'll find time to reach out to them also, to let them know that your thoughts are with theirs in this significant loss, to be a comfort and a care alongside them in those times when they simply need the warmth of your embrace, the joy of your smile, or your listening ear to listen with care. As we prepare to leave the chapel today, I'd like to share two final things with you. I'd like to share with you a poem and a musical selection, both dedicated to Johnny today from his loving family. The poet writes these words: "A limb has fallen from the family tree. I keep hearing a voice that says, 'Grieve not for me.' Remember the best times, the laughter, the songs, the good life I lived while I was strong. Continue my heritage, I'm counting on you. Keep smiling and surely the sun will shine through. My mind is at ease, my soul is at rest, remembering all how I truly was blessed. Continue traditions no matter how small. Go on with your life, worry not about falls. I miss you all dearly, so keep up your chin. Until the day comes, we're together again."